Aloha. Welcome to the Walking in Aloha, Let's Talk Story podcast. We're so glad to have you here. Ekomo mai. Now here's our podcast host and award-winning author, Michelle.
Aloha, everyone, and thank you for coming into the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast. My name is Michelle Ebalaroza Kawano, and here on the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast, we bring aloha, affirmations and actions, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, health and healing, and acute awareness. I know everyone hears aloha. Aloha is more than just a greeting, but I learned aloha through writing my story. And that is what I share now with everyone across the globe. Today we have Lizbeth.
Correct.
She is an amazing speaker, author, and coach. And I just want you to introduce yourself. Let us know more about you and what started your wonderful work.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle, for having me. Yes, my name is Lizbeth Jimenez. I am a speaker, a coach, and an author. I go by the name of Luminous Liz because I try to illuminate and bring light to as many people as possible. I was a traveling nurse for quite some time, worked in the healthcare system, and from working in the healthcare system and seeing just always working on this overdrived state and an unbalanced body and an unbalanced nervous system, it led me to find different paths of connecting with myself, connecting with my body, connecting with my mind and my spirit. And through the breath and the breath awareness that I came to, it allowed me to see things in a different perspective, in a different light. So I recently, I think it was in October, I decided to leave the hospital and fully embody and embrace what it is that I actually do and be a coach and be a guide and a mentor to those that need help. So that's what I'm here for.
It's awesome. And we talk about the breath of life. And anytime I hear breath of life, I think of ha in aloha, because alo is the closeness. That's what alo means. And ha is breath. And now when we talk about breath, I'm like, not as something as we create for ourselves, but as something we receive from God. And I was at work. I work at TSA, and this lady comes in and she has ha on her shirt, right? And it says ha, Job 33:4. I think that's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, I'm like, what is Job 33:4? And then she says, it is, I'm going to look it up because I never want to quote scripture and it's wrong, because to me, that's like, it's wrong in itself if I misquote scripture. But it is talking about the breath. And okay, so it says, for the Spirit of God has made me, and the breath of the Almighty gives me life. And as I was thinking about that, and I thought it was just so timely, because like I said, it was just like maybe a couple days ago, and knowing that we're going to be on today. So I was like, how is that?
Beautiful.
Right? That
Beautiful
is so
synchronicity.
amazing. So amazing. So I just wanted to share that with you because like I said, the timing was amazing. So God is good. God is good. And the one thing that connects all of my guests together is the fact of the ALOHA Always Framework. And I do, like I mentioned before, the 5 pillars that helped me through my walk. And that's the affirmations and actions, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, healthy living, and acute awareness. And I have spoke to people like from Egypt to Spain and Africa and all over the world and here in the United States, and seeing people walk in aloha in their own way. And so I just wanted to have you share how you walk in aloha in your own way. Let's start.
Let's start.
Affirmations and actions. That's the first A in aloha. So the identity, calling, and the alignment with God. So before we talk about that, who God created you to be, how has God affirmed your calling through your journey from science to nursing and guiding others into the rest and restoration?
I feel and I believe that when it comes to when I became more aware of my breath, when I started tuning in and listening to me and feeling what feels right in my body, what feels in alignment with me, what feels true to me, things started flowing very effortlessly. And I started seeing how, especially when it comes to helping people connect to their breath, how so many of us walk around or just go by our daily lives very disconnected, just very dysregulated, and not realizing that you control your own power to regulate yourself, to bring yourself back to a calm, to bring yourself back to this restful state of peace, this state of regulation, of safety within your body. So then you can walk and you can and be embodied in this powerful just leader. It's like taking action and ownership in a very safe state instead of feeling very disconnected.
Yeah, because, like at one point, I didn't understand the. I always looked at when people talked about the breath and breath work, when they mentioned breath work, I always felt like it had a disconnect with my Christian walk. Like it was a disconnect because I guess the way people made it seem like it was totally different, right? And I was blessed enough to be in a retreat in, where was I? I know I travel a lot, so sometimes I'm like, where was this one? It was in North Carolina. I was in Oak Island, North Carolina, and I was at a retreat. And one of the ladies there, now this is a completely Christian group, and she's talking about breath work. And I was thinking, ooh, am I in the wrong place? Right? That was the first thing I thought. I was like, wait, I thought we were all Christian women. And, because I didn't have that sense of like, no, it's not. We all breathe.
I was going to say it's science. It is a fact of life. Your body's, this is where I say the spiritual woo woo is, it's what you're referring to. I always talk because I deal with clients from all areas, whether you're in corporate, whether you're in business, whether you're in spirituality, whether you're in the healthcare system, whether you're a mom, raising your own children, all walks of life. And I have them understand that it is pure science. It's the mechanics of your body. You breathe. You need to breathe to survive. It's the first thing that you do when you come into this world, and it's the last thing that you do when you leave, right? But as long as you're living, you have to breathe. So finding ways that you can control, because you can control how to bring yourself from a very anxious state to a very calm state, to a very grounded and a balanced state. It's really all breath work is. It's just a tool and an outlet to allow you to become more aware of you, of your body, listening to your body and knowing what your body's telling you when it's overstressed, when it's overworked, when it's burnt out, when it's in a fight or like a fight or flight instead of more of a rest and a receiving state.
Yeah. See, that's why I like the fact that you're coming from not just that, like how you said, like that woo woo place,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you're actually coming from a medical profession,
exactly.
And so coming from that place, I'm like, no, because I know for a fact that okay, so I actually, my doctor was telling me I had, what do you call it?
TMJ,
TMJ? Yeah, because when I get stressed, I
you clench.
clench my jaws, right? And when I get stressed, I clench my jaws and I am not breathing. I kind of like hold my breath.
You do.
You're like, no, not kinda. You do.
But you do, you hold it, you shallow breathe. That's a way, it's a way that you know that your body's not feeling into safety. You either tend to clench up. Some people clench their fists, they pick their nails, they clench their jaws, they grind their teeth, they bite their nails, they bite the inside of their mouth. Those are just all mechanisms of your body telling you, hey, I think it's time that you need to slow down for a moment and just take a breath. Connect to your breath. Your breath is your medicine.
Yeah. And so all of that told me not, I'm the doctor now, because I was talking about being stressed and all of that. He looked at my jaw, he looked at my teeth, and yes, I didn't mention it to you. I didn't say it, but you know, because you're in the biting the inside of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, right on the inside of my mouth, there was like a mark, like a bite mark on the inside of my mouth. I didn't know I was doing it, but because he's looking in my mouth, right? He's looking at my teeth. There was wear on my teeth, and he had to show me because I was like, no, I
Because
don't.
you're doing it subconsciously. When we get into these patterns of repetition to bring our bodies back to safety, we do things subconsciously without realizing it. You know, it's like my mother's 73 years old right now, and she started getting the habit of grinding. And her grinding is a stress response. It's a response to her stress level. And I told my mom, you need to start calling yourself, like start balancing yourself, start grounding yourself, and start breathing and slow down. It's okay to slow down.
That's so good. So good. And we don't realize that. It's almost like somebody needs to tell you that you need to slow down. You need to start looking at yourself,
You
you
need to
know?
start looking at yourself, looking at your body, listening to your body's cues that you may not be aware of, but other people will pick up on it, right? Because if you have someone who's around you who's not used to the responses that you do, they may be able to see it without you realizing it. And now, for example, as your doctor, he put that into your awareness. Now you can see, wait a minute, oh my God, I do bite the
Yeah.
inside of my mouth, or I'm clenching my jaw. You become more aware of these little tiny habits that it's your body kind of like giving its little loud signal saying, help me, I need some help, listen to me.
Yeah. So that's what I do now. I actually consciously become aware of the fact that I
Yes.
am holding my jaw tight, you know? So
Yes.
The L in Aloha is leadership and love. How we lead ourselves and others with humility and compassion. Leadership often starts with how we care for what God has entrusted us with. How did learning to slow down and listen to your own body change the way you love and serve and lead others?
It has taught me, by me connecting always back to my breath, it has taught me where and what areas of my life did not feel very safe for me. Areas of my life or practices that I was doing or habits that I was creating that were leading me into a place of very unsafe, not balanced body, a very stressed out, a very disconnected, you know? And I mean, for one, I'm a nurse, and I will forever be a nurse. I love helping people. Since I was a baby, I always said I wanted to be a doctor. And from a doctor, I ended up becoming a nurse, because a nurse, you get to have more of that rapport with that human just connection, humanity. Always wanted to lead and serve and love and help as many lives as I possibly can. You know, coming from a place where I came from, which was Puerto Rico, the medical system and just the systems that they had back there were not very advanced. And I lost my father at a very young age due to lack of care. So it was something that I've always in me wanted to do by helping people. And being in the healthcare system has empathetically grown my heart to love and nurture and care for others, to help others find love within themselves, to help others see who they are and love life, and not the dimness of life, not the craziness that goes out there, but the beauty of life. It's like stopping for those moments and smelling a rose, as the cliche says, being appreciative by when you wake up that, yes, God gave you an opportunity to take another breath. So make the best of that day and be embodied in that day, be embodied in your spirit, so that you know that what you're doing, it just feels good, and you're leading with love, and you're walking in love. So that's all that surrounds you.
That's so good. Because people sometimes they don't realize that. Like, I was speaking with someone else and they were talking about, like, even in the corporate setting, like when I brought up leadership and love, because love in the corporate setting, they're like, I don't know about that, right? Love. Like, and then he had to realize, like, well, it's not really love. It's like if I could just care about everyone around me, right? Those kind of things. And then if we think about it, we need to start with ourselves
Absolutely.
because where I came from, I was I was stuck in this domestic violence situation. I thought I was thinking about everyone else, keeping everyone else safe. I was protecting other people because they lived in the home also, right? And I'm like, if I say something, if I do something, that takes the roof off of them also. So I need to protect them by keeping quiet. But it's like, no, I need to lead myself out of this situation because I need to love myself enough, right? I needed to love myself enough to lead. And it's like, how am I supposed to show anyone else that kind of love if I can't even love myself?
It all starts with you. You have to love yourself first before you
Yeah,
can love anyone else. It all
exactly.
comes down to you, your world. Your world is you. And what you create of it, the pieces and elements that make you the divine, beautiful being that you are, all come from the actions that you take by putting yourself. You have to put your needs, your wants, and desires first in order for you to start helping others because you're
Yeah,
opening that opportunity, you're opening that bridge, you're opening that possibility, that gate, when you start leading from here to then be reflected out
yeah,
because you are your greatest mirror.
yeah. You are your greatest mirror. And, Jesus led that way. He wrapped the towel around himself and he got down and he wanted to wash the disciples' feet. And they were like, no, no, master, you can't wash my feet, because they were thinking, how can the master humble himself enough to get on his hands and knees to wash their feet? So they were like, no, you can't do that. But the one thing that he said is, how am I to show you how to serve? I don't serve the way that it is, right? So he had to lead. And to show them that level of leadership, they were able to go out and lead that way. And so we need to be able to say, yes, we're going to love ourselves and lead ourselves in such a way that we become the best mirrors. Because how is
Absolutely.
other people supposed to see that, right?
Yes,
Should be the ones that lead in that way.
absolutely.
So good, so good. So good. I love it. So the O in overcoming obstacles, the O in aloha. And we're all going to have obstacles, and it's something that just doesn't go away. It's not like things are going to get better and you're just going to have a cakewalk. That doesn't happen. We wish that it would, but burnout, grief, stress, and resistance to rest. I say that like I want to be the best at like taking care of myself and resting and doing what is best for myself, but I have to admit that sometimes I don't do it. I don't do it. I don't do it. Sometimes it's like I'm over here and I'm doing the work, and before I know it, my husband is the one telling me that, hon, I think you need to go to sleep. Because time just goes by. But we need to. We need to, because many people see burnout as weakness, like not as a warning, but it is. And what obstacles do you see people facing when they resist God's invitation to rest? Because, God rested. He made a day of rest. Why don't we listen? I don't know.
I mean, our bodies are not a machine. They're not a
I
machine.
know.
It's a living, we have living organs inside our body. It's a living element, right? We have to nurture and we have to take care of it in order for it to be resourceful, to be sustainable, to be powerful, right? There's a misconception in society to where the harder you work, the better your outcome will be, or the more money you will make, or the higher in leadership you would be, right? They equate working harder with getting further or being more successful, right? And when it comes down to taking rest, to relaxing, to receiving, you were 100% right when you said it is looked upon as a weakness or lazy or procrastination, whatever terms that you hear very commonly. It's like if you say, I need to just take a break, I need a day off, I need to listen to myself, my body's telling me And it's like, well, how dare you take a day off? How can you take a day off? You can't take a day off. If you don't take a day off, who's going to do this? Or if you take a day off, you're considered lazy, or you're considered, like I said, it's a bad stigma that they put upon rest when it's one of the most essential things that you need. We all need it. We all need it to survive. We need it to sustain our own mental for our bodies, because our bodies are not machines. They don't operate full time on the go all the time. You have to listen to what your body is telling you. And when your body is telling you to rest, you rest, and you rest without shame. You rest without like blaming yourself or judging yourself for wanting to take rest, and embodying and loving yourself and honoring yourself, that when you do want to rest, you rest. Whether it's soaking in a bathtub, whether it's reading a book, whether it's just sitting down and just being present with your thought, with your awareness, whether it's in meditation, whether it's in prayer, whatever way you can disconnect to reconnect inside, by all means, allow your body to speak to you and you listen, so that your mind, body, and spirit can work together effortlessly and not with resistance.
I love what you said, like to disconnect, to reconnect. That is so
It's
good.
it's like the greatest way that I attune, or I always put the breath with what I do and how you can connect to your breath, right? I help you, I am like a bridge that creates this space to where you can disconnect from everything, to go within, to
Yeah,
listen to you, to listen to what your body needs, to listen to what your own spirit and your own heart desires, and just leading from there. And it becomes effortless. It becomes something joyous. It becomes something just absolute. It becomes beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful when you get to be in that state. So I always recommend, especially in the healthcare system, I would always recommend them, when you need the day off, you have to take the day off. You have to listen. Because if we don't start listening to those cues, if we don't start listening to when your body is screaming for rest, believe me, it will come to you. And then sometimes by force, and it's going to make you rest. And you don't want it to get to that point. It shouldn't get to that point.
how does that resistance show up in the body?
A lot of the times resistance shows up with anxiousness. It shows up with ruminations, like your brain going constantly on overdrive, on, to where you're trying to sleep and you can't even sleep because this can't get turned off, right? A lot of the time resistance, elevated heart rate, it comes out. It's just like your body not feeling safe, your body not feeling grounded. Sickness shows up a lot in your body when you're fighting it with resistance. When you're going against the grain and you're not going in flow, stress, anxiety, depression, all those things are results of you being disconnected and going against your body's will.
That's harsh. I
It
mean,
is.
it is because, like people don't think about it. They think it's just let me just work a little bit harder. Let me just do this. Let me, kind of just give up a day of rest kind of thing. But one day turns into 1 week, and before they know it, I've heard rest like equating to like deposits in a bank, and over time it's going to wear on your body, right? And people don't realize that. But then it's like you said, it comes out as all this other stuff, like depression and sickness and anxiety and all the things that people put into other things. Like, what if it's just that you need to rest,
Just
right?
a day to yourself, a day to your own peace. You know,
Yeah.
it's challenging though, Michelle, because we live in a world where things it's cost, things it's
Mhm.
expensive to live,
Yeah.
and people have to provide for their families and their homes. So they're forced in sometimes these situations where they have to work overtime, or they have to work all these hours to make ends meet.
Or they're
But you
working two
have to,
jobs.
yeah, or they're working two jobs or multiple, right? But when you look at the picture, you really have to come down to sitting with some uncomfortable truths and reality. If you put too much stress and strain on your body will try to keep up as best and as much as it can until it collapses. And you don't ever want to get to a point where it becomes it's like too late, where you ended up creating some serious damage within. So being more mindful, and it's not like just taking a whole day off, just practice mindfulness throughout your day. And that could be as simple as even a 1 minute reset with connecting to your breath to bring your heart rate down, to allow your blood vessels to be relaxed, to allow your body to feel safe, to allow your body to feel calm. 1 minute throughout the day where you're consciously saying, I'm stopping myself right now. I'm being present with myself. I'm connecting to my breath. I'm connecting to my body. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It can have a dramatic response to your cortisol levels. It can have a dramatic response to your body's mechanism of stress. It brings down stress. It brings down anxiety. It brings down on that state of dis-ease in your body, and it puts your body in a state of ability. It puts your body in a state of, okay, okay, the walls are not crashing in. And that's
Yeah.
something simple and small that you can do throughout your day. If you can't, for financial reasons and so forth, take a day off. Just being more conscious on how you can be more mindful and how you can incorporate mindfulness into your day-to-day living can have a dramatic impact and a long-term positive response on your own inner well-being.
So good. Yeah, one of my other guests, we were talking about like even in the corporate world, like it needs to be okay for them to say people need to take that minute, take that
Yeah,
moment, and it
yeah.
needs to be okay. And even in those higher up levels, they need to see the their employees. They need to see everyone like it just needs to be like
Or yeah, the
judgment is
fear of they'll get fired or the fear that they're gonna lose
right.
their job. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because there's so many like things to judge you on, whether it is at home or work or whatever. But I just feel like this world is just like that, where there's so many people feeling judged. Maybe people need to just realize, take that moment, take that time. We even spoke about like how many people are out there in the world where the only social, like not talking about social as on like Facebook or whatever, but being with people is when they go to work.
Yeah, the human
Right.
interaction.
Yeah. That's the only time they get human interaction is when they're at work and they come home to an empty house. Then they don't have that where they can ground themselves, they can relax, they can
No, it's
breathe.
extremely important, I think, for corporate, especially in just corporate America, to
Hmm.
and I know that it is happening and it is kind of like transitioning into being more acceptable with mindfulness, health and wellness and mindfulness.
Hmm.
But I definitely agree with you that it needs to be an incorporated practice to where it is presented as an offering that people who work in corporate can go to, whether if they have a room with a massage chair or a meditation thing where they can go for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes during their break and take a moment to connect with themselves, take a moment to relax, take a moment to breathe, take a moment to just become in a calm state. 100%, I think it needs to be something that should be incorporated everywhere. So you can allow people when they need to reset or when they need to calm themselves down or they just need to feel safe in their own body, they can be given that opportunity because the resources are going to be there and provided for them.
Yeah. I mean, because as a person in the health field, you must see it a lot where if that was something that was available, wouldn't there be less people that need to be in the doctor's office or, right?
That brings up a whole nother can of worms. But yes, you are very it's very true. It's if healing starts within and everyone becomes into this state of aligned beings that are healing themselves within, then we wouldn't need those systems.
Yeah. See? So I'm just thinking it has to start somewhere where we're not all just wound up, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
That's a
Because
fact.
there's people like you. There's people like you who are out there. There's people who like my other guest who is like there's people, good people out there who are saying we see it. We know that it exists. and there's ways where people don't have to suffer anymore. We just need to get the awareness out, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
So, health and healing. Look at me. I'm just going on a tangent here, but we're on H for health and healing. God's design for restoration. And we probably was already talking about it.
Yeah.
Body, mind, and spirit. Body, mind, and spirit. Healing doesn't always come through words alone. From your experience, why does the body often carry stress or grief long after the situation has passed? And how does God meet people in that place of need? I know that we were talking about it and how things sit with us, but how does that work?
See, grief, pain, suffering, trauma, all these responses that have occurred, these life instances that have affected you at one point, because we're not taught how to deal with our emotions. We're not taught how to process the emotions. We're not taught how to live our daily day life after we've experienced something that is extremely traumatic to our body, right? So then we go along the outline that's been taught to us to where, okay, you feel it for a few weeks and then move on, get over it, like let it go, not realizing that you never processed it. You've never sat with it. You've never listened to it. You've never seen it. So it stays within you. It stays within you way longer. And sometimes it'll stay for you it will stay within your body. It will stay within your physical being for your entire lifetime if you do not meet it within. Our emotions surface through and present themselves in ways of, like I said, it presents themselves in ways of stress, in ways of anxiety, in ways of depression, in ways of heart disease, in ways of other diseases and other ailments in our bodies, are all emotional connections that deal with a dysregulated system within our body to begin with. So one thing I've realized a lot in being in healthcare for so long. I worked on the ambulance for 10 years. I was a nurse for 4.5 years, is people just don't know how to process their emotions and they swallow it and they hold it. And it isn't until something has to happen, whether they go into a very deep, dark stage, that they start looking for answers, because they're almost at that point of like, they don't even know why they're living. Right? It's when they start getting into these dark spaces is when they start asking these questions, asking for help, asking for guidance, asking for clarity, asking for an insight, asking to receive any kind of help necessary so they can get themselves out of this state. And a lot of the times it has to get to that point in order for them to see their salvation, in order for them to see the light, in order for them to see a possibility that's brighter than what they're living in. And I think personally, it has to do a lot though, Michelle, is that people just don't know how to deal with their emotions. I think people don't know how to work through grief. People don't know how to work through stress, how to work through trauma, how to work through these things that happen within their own bodies in a safe and holistic way. They just go on with life, and because they don't feel it, they think they healed it, but that's not the case.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
I
like
think like
sometimes
sometimes
people don't want
you want
to
to
admit it,
admit it,
I hear
I
it
hear it
coming.
echoing. Hold on. I had to disconnect my AirPods because they died on me. Can you still hear me echoing?
I hear
I
me
hear me
echoing.
echoing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it better now?
Test, test.
Yes.
No, I still can hear
Still can hear
myself.
myself.
It will
It will
record that
record
way.
that way. Is there an echo cancellation button on your end?
No,
No,
because
because
it's coming off
it's
of
coming
your
off of
speaker.
your speaker. Does that sound better?
Testing.
Test.
No, because if
Because
your
if your
speaker is
speaker is
external,
external. No, my speaker is my laptop.
yeah.
Yeah.
So your
So your
laptop is
laptop is
coming back
coming back
around,
around,
and then
and then
I'm gonna
I'm
be
gonna be
recording
recording
myself.
myself. Let me see. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Hey, baby. Yeah. Can I use your AirPods and you not listen to anything for the next 20 minutes?
Because the
Is
echo
the echo
cancellation
cancellation
is to the side.
side? The echo cancellation, I see the button, but I can't. It's disabled on my side. So like I tried to click the echo cancellation and it won't let me do it.
Because it's
So then
on
when I
already.
tried to go to the speaker setting, I mean I only have my laptop. I don't have
Yeah.
another.
Maybe it's
Maybe
because
it's
it's
because it's
already
already
in
in
process. We
process.
can't
We
make
can't make
changes, right?
changes,
Because
right?
it's
Okay.
already in for it.
For it.
So I
Okay.
can't. You're right. We
You're right.
can't.
We can't. Because I can't hear the echo, but you hear the echo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because
It's
it's
because
coming
it's
off of
coming off.
your side.
How about when you're speaking, I mute myself, and then when I'm going to speak, we go that way and see if it works.
Okay. We could try
We could try
that.
that.
But if you
But if
mute
you mute,
me,
I can't mute myself anyways. Sorry. I don't know how to
that's
fix it.
okay. I
So
can't
I
do
can't do
anything.
anything. All right. Do you want to continue?
Yeah. Okay. We'll just do this. Okay. Wait. I'm messing with sitting on this side, so now I can't even see you. Okay. I don't want to lose you video level. Okay. Health and healing. Okay, never mind. God
Just
meet
God meet
people
people
in a
in a
place of
place of
ease.
ease.
And the echo is not there.
Perfect. So as I was mentioning, back to just storing trauma, storing grief, storing all these emotions in your body. I feel that the biggest issue that I've seen in my patients, I've seen in my clients. I mean, I even seen it within myself before I started dealing with it, is we were just never taught. We were never taught how to process our emotions. We were never taught how to deal with grief, how to deal with depression, how to deal with anxiety, how to deal with these discomforts of life, of losing a family member or going through a traumatic experience and healing it in a very balanced mind, body, and spirit way instead of just dealing with it and allowing time to go by and thinking in your mind because you don't feel it, you've healed it. But that's not the case because you've never dealt with the emotion inside and the emotion still lives within you.
True. Yeah, because it's like, we do that where we just hold things in. And there's that book, The Body Keeps the Score. Yeah. And it's like people don't realize that until they start seeing all of the effects
Yes.
that it is. Right?
Yes.
The A in Aloha is acute awareness, living present, surrendered, and aware of God's nearness. So scripture tells us to be still and know that I am God. What does that kind of stillness look like in daily life? Not passivity, but as active trust and awareness of God's presence.
It's an inner knowing. It's an inner knowing in your body. It's like having, you know how the saying goes, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. You know what I mean? It's the inner knowing. It's the inner awareness of, I live my life in presence. I walk in gratitude for everything that I have around me. It's the greatest gift truly to me is being present because when you're present, I I automatically stillness is embodied all around because you're not worrying about everything else that's occurring on its exterior and you're focused within. You're focused in your actions. You're focused in your daily activities. You're focused in just taking that next step and not worrying about ahead and not looking behind.
So good. The reason that the acute awareness is even in there is because, like I said, the 5 pillars is what God already walked me through. And I didn't have that acute awareness, right? I didn't. Because if I did, I would have walked out of that situation way before I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't have that acute awareness because the red flags, the things that I should have seen, maybe I did see them, but I kind of brushed them off.
Muted them. Yeah.
Yeah. And how often do we do that with the things that we should be seeing in our own lives? The little aches, the pains, the clenching of the jaws, right? We just kind of brush it off. And until we're in the doctor's office, until those bigger problems occur. where if we were more aware, if we were tuning into ourselves better than what we should be, we would be like, okay, take a look at yourself, slow down, back up a little bit, and look in and be like, okay, maybe I am just a little wound up this week. I need to go take a walk on the beach. I need to, those things, and be okay. Like how you said earlier, there is no shame in the rest,
Yeah.
right? There's no
Yeah.
guilt in that rest. It's like, it is important. That is
Extremely
important.
important.
Yeah, it is extremely important. There shouldn't be like you're being lazy or you're being, those kind of things, those what the world has made it seem to be, right? We got to get rid of that.
We
Get
do.
rid of
We
that
do.
stuff.
It's breaking that system, breaking those false beliefs that have been instilled in us that are not true. They're not true. They bring on this state of fear, this state of hesitation, this state of anxiety on our bodies, and it doesn't allow the human to become aware, to become connected, to become rooted within themselves. And it's your own intuition, it's your own leading in faith, it's your own walking in your own purpose. When you start embodying those practices, when you start listening within, when you start being like fully being that person, you will get those red flags. And those red flags will be very loud that you can see them crystal clear. And using your discernment to make the right choice as to how you're going to make the next decision and how you can lead with purpose, how you can lead with love, how you can lead with presence, how you can lead with awareness, how you can lead with all that beautiful medicine integrated within, so then you can teach others to do the same. Then we start breaking the system. Then we start breaking the patterns. And then we start seeing a huge shift. But it always starts with us.
So good. We need to do that. We need more people to be like, that's enough.
Stop. Yes. Give that pattern interrupt. Stop. Take a breath.
Stop
Just
already.
drop back
Yes,
within.
because we've seen like how many people, I mean, I don't know the statistics, but you probably do. Like how many people are like now on high blood pressure medication or all of this stuff, right? Like
It's a
those
very
kind of
sad
things.
reality. It's a very sad reality that the truth is can be eradicated if we just become more aware and more present on taking care of ourselves, on
Ugh,
living with love, on living with joy, on nurturing ourselves, resting, and just being present.
ugh, ugh. Okay, honestly, now doesn't that make you angry?
You know, it
You're
it
like,
it's
oh, just
it
stop.
seems, you know what it is? It's like a challenge. It's like a delicious challenge that I know is my purpose to walk in my life, to show people that things can be different and life can be better, and it will be better as long as you have the faith that your life can change and that you can change. You can create anything.
So good. So when someone begins stewarding their breath, their body, the way that God designed, what changes do you see? Not just in how we feel, but how they live, how they love, and how they trust God.
I mean, you see it in their physical beings change.
Yes.
Their relationships with their family, their relationships with their coworkers, their relationship to life changes because everything you understand you're the product of your own environment. When you start changing the environment, everything else shifts and change. So you'll see it. You'll see them walking happier. They living more fulfilled lives. They see things like the fogginess, these goggles that's been placed over their eyes for so long is finally lifted. Like the veil is finally lifted. They can finally see life for what it's worth, see the beauty, see the reason why we even are here, the existence to humanity in general. They're able to feel differently. They're able to embody themselves and they're able to just, honest to God, it's just love. It's love. It's love. They're able
Yeah.
to just feel love, embrace love, be love, and love surrounds them, and love joyously emanates through them and out and around and within. So it shifts everything.
That is so good. Because people like I was saying earlier, they don't realize until all the bad stuff is happening, right? They don't realize that. But all of that shift, like you were saying, it could be so beautiful in the change, right? The beauty in
Absolutely.
that change and knowing how much of that is going to just shift for them and make all the difference in their lives, in not just their lives, but in the lives of their families,
Absolutely.
in their workplace. And because, like they said, right, how is that? The environment. You can't
Yeah.
just plant a seed in this rotten environment. You have
Exactly.
to plant it
Nourish it.
in,
A
nourish it, and
rich,
plant it, yes, in the rich soil. You got to be
yes.
able to plant it in that place where it's going to grow. You can't just be like, throw it in wherever.
Absolutely. But this is where we have you. We have people like you, Michelle, that give the opportunity for me to speak, for others to speak, so we can spread that awareness, so we can spread that love, so we can lead as the example to show others that it can be different. You know, my favorite quote of all times, and I always say if I end up transitioning over, I want it to be on my tombstone is be the change you wish to see in the world.
Yes, I love that one.
I absolutely love it. I embody it. That is a practice that I do every single day because I want to see what I want to see is what I'm creating. And every actionable step that I take to be in that change, I know it will create the ripple effect for others to change as well.
So good. And that is the heart of walking in aloha and what we do, because it's not striving for healing, but aligning with God's design because we're created in his image, and we
Yes.
just have to surrender one step at a time. And I talk about like how people don't realize that look, we are here. We're here
Yeah.
together. You have such a beautiful way of being, and what you're doing, the work that you're doing, it's just so
Thank
incredible.
you. Thank you so,
Just
so
so
much.
incredible.
Thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor to be able to speak here with you, just to be able to receive each other's medicine and each other's wisdom so we can be that outlet for others to hear and see.
Yes. So thank you so much for being here, being on the
Thank you.
Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast, for sharing everything that you've shared. I can't thank you enough because there is so much of that shift that people truly, truly need. Like I said, it should be in an SOP. It should be in those places
Yeah,
where it is. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Yes, I am. It should be mandatory, right? It
it should.
should be. It
Who
should be
knows?
mandatory where people are allowed to be who God created them to be okay with saying, I'm not okay, right?
That's a big one.
It should be mandatory because there are so many people who are wound up, so many people who are stressed out, and they feel like it's not even okay to say that they're not okay.
Exactly. And that is why, I'm making it my mission to make myself known as much as possible so I can spread the word to others that I am here to help you because it can be different. And life can 100% be something beautiful if you just take the action on saying yes to your own start of your own healing journey and just connecting with yourself and just know that it will get better if you just take that small, tiny leap of faith. Or if you just have the faith of that tiny little mustard seed, that your life can be truly whatever you want to design it to be, you can. You just have to start within.
Yeah. And like it says in the word, that tiny mustard seed can move mountains. And those are the mountains that we need to start moving. No,
Absolutely.
we need to start moving. Oh, as mahalo for sharing your heart,
Mahalo, mahalo. Thank you.
for reminding us that healing doesn't come from striving, it comes from surrender. To everyone listening, your breath is not something that you control, it's something that you receive. It's a reminder from God that you need to be present with yourself, right? Look within, check in on yourself. How about we start checking in with each other? How about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
this was so good. So good. Look at me. I'm going to start crying. Shh, stop.
Allow
But
your emotions, to flow. There's no reason to hold
yeah,
back the expression of
yeah.
gratitude and love. It's
So
beautiful.
it's so good. It's just because, you see it too many times where people are just, they're like, I cannot say that I'm not okay. I cannot do this, but you know what? It's okay. And to just check in with yourself, breathe, allow God to work within you, allow that breath that He gave you, that that He gave you. Allow
Absolutely.
that to be. So until next time, everyone, thank you, Liz, for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank
for
you.
joining us here on the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast. And like I said, check in, truly, truly check in with yourself, check in with others, and breathe. So, ahuiho, aloha.
Thank you for joining us here on the Walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story podcast. Before leaving, please hit that subscribe button. God's blessings always and ahui ho.